As we talk about drunk driving, most notably in San Diego County, where there have been at least 6 fatalities involving alleged drunk drivers just over the past 2 weeks. Our guest now is Eugene Ellis. Eugene has been on before with us here on San Diego People. He has sometimes talked about what people should do when they're stopped allegedly for drunk driving. Today I asked him to keep his comments more to the one thing he knows most about, which is those folks who end up in his office after they've been arrested. Tell me what happens to the person who works in a secretarial pool, who works for a grocery store someplace. They've gone out with the people, they've gone out to drink, and that light shows up in their mirror and they're pulled over and they're drunk. Right. Tell me how their life changes from that point on.
Okay, the very first thing I want to make clear is that driving with any amount of alcohol in your system is antisocial behavior. It's not illegal necessarily. In fact, it's legal to drink and drive in every state of the United States, but it's very foolish because people are being arrested for breaking the basic zero tolerance law, and then they have to hire lawyers and go to court and do other things that are very expensive and very draconian to try to prove that they were not DUI. You can argue about whether that's proper or legal or not, but the point is that's what's being done, and so you should know it. Drinking and driving is, as I said, antisocial behavior, and the horror that's caused by an accident that causes somebody else to lose their life or be maimed or something like that, which is so easy, you cannot even remotely understand how easy it is to, you see what happens, you lose a few seconds off of your reaction time. And when you lose that time, when you lose that reaction time, you could just touch the bumper of another person that you felt that you were able to easily move around, and they could flip and somebody go flying out the window. And we passed one accident where the human didn't look like a human anymore. It was covered up with a blanket, but it didn't have a human form. It had been run over by several cars, the person had. So let's start out with that. Nobody's telling you that you should safely go out and drink and drive over the holidays or anything else. There's another aspect, however, that's often missed. Let's look at the social drinker that's not drunk by any scientific, legal, any other context, and is red-lighted and pulled over, and what they go through. Now, I'm telling you that the first thing that happens is the light goes on behind you and your heart starts beating 5,000 beats a minute because you know you had something to drink. But you feel, very many of the clients feel confident that they're not in trouble because they were not under the influence, they didn't feel under the influence or whatever. Many times the officer's watching the eating or drinking establishment and just stopping people randomly, although he makes up a reason, stopping people randomly so that he can ask you, stick his nose in the car and say, have you been drinking? Almost no matter what you say, because he saw you leave the restaurant, he saw you leave the bar, any indication whatsoever that you might have had anything to drink, not DUI, had anything to drink, which is legal, and you're on a slippery slope from there on down to the police station. And what does that cause? Well, one engineer from a very large engineering company in San Diego was stopped, arrested, was not drunk, and as later proven, but he called his company thinking that was the thing to do, that was the fair thing to do. He called his company, and the company fired him immediately. Immediately, no questions. And then I subsequently got him off in the context that he was found not guilty of the crime at all, but then it was too late for him to get his job back. Remember one thing, corporate America won't touch you with a DUI. There are 13 million people in the United States without jobs. Most of them have spotless records. You do not want to be out there fired from your job, a criminal on 5 years of criminal recidivist probation, trying to get work in this environment. You don't want that to happen. And you can't imagine. One nursing school threw the young lady out of nursing school because she was arrested for DUI, not convicted. We convinced the nursing school that they could have a problem if they didn't take her back. They took her back, and she was found to be not guilty of the DUI charge. So we're not talking about people getting drunk and going out, and actually understanding some of what I just told you. It's very, very foolish to drink anything at all and drive, but it does happen. And we just had a young Navy man, 20 years in the United States Navy, and on a first-time DUI, they're downsizing the Navy now, and he's in danger of being thrown out. Particularly, they like to throw out the people that have been in the Navy a long time because of the old corporate thing. They're paying them more money, and so they go out. On a first offense, we had an air traffic controller. All he knew for 17 years in the military service was air traffic control. They are drumming him out of the Navy for being arrested for one DUI, first offense DUI in his life. And what is the job market for an out-of-work, on criminal probation air traffic controller? Cab driver, dispatch maybe, his home, his family, all of his possessions, everything that he is as a person is in danger of going down the tubes unless I win that case. And those are very, very important concepts to understand. There are two things that you're not likely to hear on television or read in the newspaper that I think are very important for you to understand. One is what will happen to you under certain circumstances. Two is what I refer to as the social drinker's Bill of Rights. Let's start with one. One scratch on the finger of one person other than the driver, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, they're not complaining. It's a first offense DUI for you, and you'll be facing a felony DUI. Now, a felony DUI, you have infractions, misdemeanors low, misdemeanors high, and felonies. A felony is the worst crime you can get in America. It's not less than 1 year in the men's prison. It is, when you get out, you have a strike, 3 strikes, and you do 20 years in prison. You can't own a gun. You can't own land. You can't vote, and they take away your passport. So why would anyone under those circumstances drink anything? 6 years ago, whiplash became a felony for purposes of felony DUI. So you need two things. You're arrested and convicted of DUI and the most minor injury on someone other than you. And put those together and you have what amounts to an atomic bomb. Are they doing it or are they just threatening it? A young man working at my house celebrated his first-year anniversary with his wife, had a little bit of wine to drink on the way home, having fun with each other, made a wide turn, collided, and hit 2 parked cars. Airbags went off. She got a seatbelt rash on her upper body. One of the local courts demanded a felony DUI against her husband. When she went up there and she said, "What the heck are you doing?" "I'm not complaining." They said, "Be quiet, lady." I think they said something else besides that. It's not a crime against you. It's a crime against the state of California. And they repeated what the local judge said to a group full of DUI attorneys 3 years earlier. One scratch on the finger of one person will make it a felony. So,
excuse me, that's a first for San Diego people. I just asked you a question, and you just gave the most heartwarming 9-minute lecture to the audience, eye to eye, that I've probably ever heard. Instead of us sitting and bandying back and forth, you just told this audience face to face what they'll face. We need to take a break. We're going to come back and I'll debrief you a little more. But that was just an interesting few moments here that I haven't experienced before. Great job by Gene Ellis. We'll come back and talk to him just a little bit more about drunk driving.